Why am I so far away? Well, this will have to do. I'm like 300 feet away. Oh my god. Ooh. Hello everyone, welcome to the mess. I'm like 1,000 feet away from the camera. What the heck? Do I have like the wrong lens or something? Do I need a different lens? Because I can't get my face in, but then I can't get this thing in. Anyway, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So I want to highlight some plants that I got today. I was not expecting to get plants, was not planning on getting the plants, didn't plan on the plants, guys. But I made a trip to Union Square for the marketplace, like the holiday marketplace or like kiosks outside. It's like a maze. It's like the Goblet of Fire maze. You get lost in there and you just go deeper and deeper and there's just more and more stuff for you to spend your money on for the holiday season, and I love it. I didn't buy anything today, which was great, and then I left and I was like, oh, well, let me check out like the Union Square Market where the Petal Plants is and all that stuff. And yeah, I spent some coin. So I want to highlight some plants that I got, and then I want to highlight this big boy right here, and then I'm going to show you how I repot him, how I decorate him with the decorative wood, whatever that stuff is called. You'll see what I mean later. We're going to make this thing that looks okay and make it look even cuter. But let me just show you real quick. So I found this thing. I've been kind of getting back into Aglaonemas, or at least I want to. Like in my head, I've been getting back into them, but I haven't really gotten any yet. I haven't had any in a long time. And I've never had the Pictum tricolor. Well, I saw this and it said Aglaonema Pictum Peacock. I don't know if that's a different cultivar. I don't know if that's a different type of Aglaonema. If you have a peacock, and you can tell me if it's the same, if it's different, please let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. It was 20 bucks. 20 bucks, people. I was looking for Pictum tricolor on Etsy recently, and they were like, 50 bucks, 60 bucks. I'm like, I don't love it that much. I really like them. I think they're very pretty, but I hear they're not the easiest to care for. But for 20 bucks, let's go for it. Also, this one. My friend Jira, who owns Plant Corner up here in Harlem, I've done plant shop tours of her space and things like that, so go check those out. But I saw she has one of these, and I've been wanting it for so long, but I never really saw it. So it's called Lucidia Discolor Jewel Orchid Black. It has these electric red veins, which I think looks really, really cool, and it has these beautiful maroon undersides, and I was like, well, you know what, and it's got 2 offshoots. So I'll probably put 1 offshoot in the terrarium, and then 1 offshoot in the terrarium cabinet, and just kind of see what they do. This one was 15 bucks. I've also been wanting to get back into, I'm just realizing you guys can't even see me. I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. Anyway, guys, so here's the Calathea I got. It's called Calathea White Star. Yeah, I haven't seen them for sale except online recently, and I saw it was the last one there. This one was $12. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. It looks like it got a little bit of cold damage on the way home, but that's fine. It's still small, it'll grow out, but I like the blush in the green leaves. Calatheas, they're just so beautiful. Now we're gonna go on to this beautiful thing right here. So the reason why I got this orchid, you might look at this and be like, Jake, that's just like, a white and purple orchid. You see those all the time. Well, not where I am. I live in the Northeast, I live in New York City, and I do see a lot of white orchids. I see the magenta purple orchids, and then you see the ones that are polka dots, usually white with purple polka dots, or you see white with like purple in the center, this little center area. This one, this pattern really caught my eye because it just looks different. And something about it just made me go, oh my goodness, that is a beautiful specimen. And it was 30 bucks. I have 2 orchids that are in spike right now, about to bloom. Actually, no, I have also 2 more that just recently spiked. I have 2 more orchids, so I have 4 orchids in spike. I have 2 that are going to be in bloom probably within the next maybe 3 weeks. So it was not responsible of me to get another orchid, especially one this big, because where the heck am I going to put it? But I'll find a place for it. Also, when they're in bloom, they don't need super bright light. They only need that bright light when they're in their vegetative growth state, which is when they're done blooming, and then they're working on putting out 2 to 3 leaves, and then the following season is when they respike, but they need that light to harness that energy to rebloom. But when they're in bloom like this, in full bloom, then you can kind of just put them anywhere. A nice bright spot. Don't put them in the dark. But you notice how you see these like in grocery stores, or like in dank windowsills in offices, and they look just fine for a really long time. It's only when the flowers have gone to seed that the plant starts to look kind of sickly, because it needs light again. Because it needs light to actually grow. But when it's in this state, it can just kind of go anywhere almost, at least in my experience. So come for me in the comments if you disagree, whatever. I want to get rid of this bamboo stick. I want to get rid of this ugly little, usually it's a butterfly pin, but it looks like they have a dragonfly pin to hold it up. They have this interesting wire that's holding up the arched area here. And I want to transfer it from this, average looking terracotta pot to this beautiful weathered terracotta pot. Look at this right here. I have a whole bunch of terracotta pots underneath my sink, and they are for an occasion just like this baby. It's going to look so much better in a nice pot with character to it. A pot that clearly has been around, guys. This pot has seen some things that we wouldn't even want to know. So what we're going to do, I have some extra moss in here, but I don't think I'm going to need it, so I'm just going to take that out. Now let's check on these roots. Let's see here. And of course, just stuff going all over the carpet and everything. It's quite obvious that since the moss just kind of fell from the sides and everything, that was in one of those clear orchid pots, and they just threw it into this terracotta pot, which is fine. It's not oversized, and those roots look very, very healthy. When the roots are green and silver and white like that, and they're not little strings and they're not mushy, that means you got some good roots. I am going to take a little bit of moss, just a little bit, just put it on the bottom, and then I am going to, let's find the front of the pot. Probably that is the front of the pot. This will be the front of the orchid right there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put some moss around. And where is my brush? I'm always ill-prepared. What do you do, guys? Look at me, I have the most beautiful mustache ever. Oh, you take a brush, because a brush is not going to damage the roots. You're just going to take it, and wherever moss needs a tuck-in, you're just going to tuck it. Let me bring you in a little bit closer. This way you can actually see what I'm doing. Let me turn him around so you can see him from the back side. Baby got dark. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're going to just stick some of that moss in there. And you know what, guys? We want the small moss. We don't want the long fibered moss, because that is just so much more difficult to work with. I know when everyone talks about high quality moss, they always talk about the long fibered sphagnum moss. Turns out, guys, you want to chop up your moss. It comes off the root so much easier. Orchid roots, they're so thick and succulent, they're usually just fine. But anthuriums, philodendrons, you have long fibered sphagnum moss, it's going to just cling onto those roots. Well, actually the roots and the hairs on those roots are going to cling onto the moss. So if you have smaller and smaller bits of moss, it'll come off a lot easier, you feel me? And you know what, if you're like, well, Jake, that doesn't make any sense because in my experience it's the opposite. Well, you know what, then I guess it is what it is. This is my experience and that's your experience. Pop off in the comments section. Come for me, tell me I'm wrong, do all the things. We love everybody, including the haters. All right, and we're just going to tucky-wucky all of that moss in on the sides. I would say orchids, Phalaenopsis orchids in particular, they're not super sensitive to larger gaps in the substrate, as opposed to when I repot my anthuriums or my philodendrons. They have much more sensitive roots. The roots of Phalaenopsis orchids are quite robust. They love air, they really do. They are true epiphytes, I'm telling you that. Whereas anthuriums, philodendrons, the ones that are epiphytic, Yeah, they're epiphytic, but they can also be terrestrial. They can also grow on rocks and grow on slopes and things like that. They're extremely opportunistic, whereas Phalaenopsis, you're only going to see them clinging onto trees. Or maybe like a cliff, you might see them cling to a cliff. Cling to a cliff. I was editing a little bit of my music video today that I shot at White Sands National Park, and ooh, it's looking really good. It's looking so good. I cannot wait for it to come out. I can't wait to share it with you guys. It's gonna be sometime early next year, so don't hold your breath, but I'll let you guys know when new music comes out for sure. Okay, looks like there's a little gap right there. We're just making sure that we get all of the big gaps. Again, these roots are a lot more forgiving because they do love air. In fact, if you have a nice, healthy, vigorous Phalaenopsis, you're gonna see roots just growing out like up here, like not even in the pot, and they're totally fine. Are you able, I mean, there's a shadow on it, so maybe you can't see. But do you kind of see how there's roots sticking out? That's totally fine. In fact, those roots would prefer to stick out a little bit. So now that we got that covered, let's work on getting rid of this bamboo stick. So we're gonna take off this stupid dragonfly. And usually, you can pretty easily just take these bamboo sticks out because they have, you know, a cylindrical hole in there, and you just pull it out, guys. You just pull it out. Guys, I wanna do this as quickly as possible because I just got my Uber Eats. So I'm too busy thinking about Uber Eats that I forgot to mention. When you de-stake your spike, make sure you're holding on to it because sometimes they're truly being held up by that stake. I mean, they are being held up by that stake, but sometimes it's like they can just, ooh, and then they might even snap. So you want to just be extra careful. Like this guy, okay, he's just fine, but sometimes you think they're upright, you unclip them, that's like, woo! Okay, so you gotta be careful. All right, now let's just take this out and get rid of that forever. Goodbye. And now, let's look at our options. So I have this decorative wood. This is curling willow. I get this at the Flower District here in Manhattan. You might be able to find it online or maybe at your local garden center probably. I'm not really sure. I picked two in my stash specifically because they have an arch that can hopefully that should be able to support this arched spike. These spikes do not arch naturally, they're actually contorted as they grow to look like this. So this is what we have to work with. Should we use this one? That might be too short, because it's, you know. What about this one? Oh, this big one. I think this is the one, guys. So let's find a good position for it. All right, so just temporarily, we're going to use this stupid dragonfly. Just so it stays in place, we are going to take some moss and just secure this new stake that has a different width at the branch than the bamboo. So it's a little bit more wobbly, so we need to pack in a little bit of moss in there so it stays nice and stable. One thing I forgot to mention about the clips is that they actually can damage the spike a little bit because of like the claws pressing into the tissue of the actual spike itself, which is another reason why I don't like them, aside the fact they look kind of tacky. So I like to use these like twisty things because they're just kind of like hugging the stake and the spike together, but they're not like squishing it to it. You know what I mean? So, because yeah, I can see a couple spots where the claws were digging into the tissue of the plant, and if you create a big enough indentation, you can actually weaken the spike, and that will cause the spike to bend and break, and we don't want that. I'm just going to very gently attach those. It's literally just holding the two together. It's not like pressing them against each other. They're not madly in love. They just tolerate each other for now. All right, now let's take this dangling part and let's see if we can... Oh, there we go. Okay, okay, perfect. All I need is another thingamajig. I found one! Woohoo! Did we do it? And there it is, guys. We did it. We flippin' did it. Always making a mess. Damn it. Hope you like this video. Like and subscribe and share this video with a friend if they like orchids. I don't know. Or if they like emotionally disturbed people such as myself. Alright. Lovely. Did a good job, Jake. Alright, get out of here.